it's your boy Jay here. Welcome back to my first year on T, the best collab channel in the universe. Today we are talking about gender therapy. Wow. So I kind of, again, have quite a lot to say on this topic. You probably can tell I have quite a lot to say about everything, really. You're never going to be able to shut me up. So, today I think I'm going to talk a bit about my thoughts on gender therapy as a whole, and also my own experience with gender therapy. So, we'll go into my thoughts on it as a whole. Right, so, basically, overall, I think that gender therapy, which is therapy regarding to gender, is fine. I mean, like, if you want that, if you've decided that that's, like, if you think you need that, if you are interested in maybe looking into that, if you know, want to go and get therapy regarding to gender, then you should do that. And I'm not here to stop anyone from doing that. You know, if you have decided that that is going to be a good path for you or whatever, you go for it, you do that. I think that it should be easily accessible. I think that it should be free, obviously. I think that anyone should have access to it no matter what, at any point in your transition. If you're like really far down, or if like you're questioning your gender, you should just be able to go and see a gender therapist and talk it over if that's what you want to do. There should be like no stigma about it. There should be like whatever, like, should just be a thing that is commonplace for anyone to look into and maybe like have a few sessions of gender therapy if they feel like that is what they want to do. That is how I kind of feel about any sort of therapy, no matter what it is regarding. I think like therapy and counselling like should just be part of health services. I think it should be accessible and free to everyone, so whenever they want they can just go get sessions with a therapist and talk over whatever they want. Saying that though, I believe that gender therapy should not be compulsory for people wishing to start hormones or medically transition in any sort of way. That is because of my own experiences with it. If you don't know, I am from the UK, I'm from England, and in here where I live, we have the National Health Service, which is basically free healthcare for everyone. Great idea, love it, so thankful to live somewhere with that. Saying that, the gender services which are provided by the NHS are very old-fashioned, don't run particularly smoothly, and take bloody ages to even get a first appointment with. And for them it is compulsory to go through quite a lot of counselling and therapy in order for them to even consider any sort of medical treatment. And again, that is fine if you are a person who wants to go through gender therapy and you want to discuss your gender and things related to gender with a therapist. But personally for myself, and I know that a lot of other people feel the same way that I do about this, I never wanted gender therapy. Like, I understand why some people might want it, but personally I never really saw a need for it, because I am someone who has never really questioned my gender. I've kind of always kind of like known, and then it's kind of been fluid throughout my life, and I've just kind of been always okay with it. I've never had any like internal conflict about gender. I have never really wanted to talk over gender with anyone really. I've always been like very sure and very like stable and very certain, and just like you know always just, it's never really been a big deal to me, like in my head. I've just been like, oh yeah, I'm a trans guy and I want to medically transition. Like, I've kind of like known this like for as long as I can remember, to be quite honest, to some extent. So when you go when you try and access hormones and any other sort of medical transition through the NHS, especially when you are under 18, like I was, I think I was about 16 when I first started trying to access medical transition through the NHS. They make you first sit on a waiting list for ages, and then speak to counsellors and therapists for ages, and I had quite a lot of bad experiences with these people. I went to them and they basically, first off, they told me that it would only take about 6 months, you're supposed to see them every month, until they would move me forward. And I was like, okay, so I went to see them every month for 6 months, and they would ask me the same questions over and over again. They would ask about my past, about my childhood, and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, all right, I just need to sit through this for 6 months, and then they're going to refer me to a doctor and I'm going to medically transition. Because I went to them knowing that I wanted to start testosterone and eventually like have some sort of surgery in the future. And they were like, yeah, so we'll just talk to you about this stuff. And I knew that I just kind of had to sit through that, and then hopefully they would refer me to someone who would sort out medical stuff. But that is not how it went at all. So after 6 months, I think during that 6 months is when they would change over the doctors that were seeing me, like every couple of weeks. So every so often I had to reintroduce myself, go over all the basics, be like, yeah, this is my family, this is who I live with, these are my friends, these are like, just basically explain like my whole life story to them over and over again, because they kept just, you know, not like passing my notes on properly to anyone or whatever. And there was like this one man who was like, had literally no bedside manner whatsoever. Like I'd explained to him that, like, you know, literally the only reason I'm here is I want testosterone. I know that I want testosterone. I've been sure of this for like years now. So like, you know, I don't really know what I'm here for, what I'm doing. You're not really helping with anything. And he'd say things to me such as, but other people have other ideas. Other people think that you shouldn't be doing this, so you know that isn't in your control. That's in our control. We need to be. It's up to us whether you start testosterone or not. Which was like, it's not up to you. That it's my body. It should be up to me whether I do that or not. You know. So basically, their process is. I come to them, talk to them, and then they decide for me whether I am allowed to medically transition or not, and it goes to their board to make that decision, and not up to the actual individual, which I really do not like that situation at all. I believe that, you know, it should be up to the person to decide whether they want to medically transition or not, and not up to like a board of doctors. So anyway, I went there for a while, and then after the 6 months, I was like, I've been here for like 6 months now, didn't you say you'd like wanna like move on with this, can we do something else? And they were like, no. Basically, one woman said to me then that she never really saw me as someone who was sure about medical transition, which was just a straight up lie, because I remember like on my first appointment and every single appointment since, I had explained to them that the only reason I was there is that I was trying to access medical intervention, and she was just like, oh, I didn't know you wanted that, sorry. So then I had to just keep seeing them every month for a while. And yeah, that was pretty stressful. That whole experience has given me like quite a lot of like trust issues regarding to doctors and stuff. Like whenever I go see a doctor, I'm just like, even if they say they're going to do something for me, I'm like, are you though? Like I don't really trust like that. And anyway, so about a month before I turned 18, they referred me to the adults gender service, and I was like, okay, go off then. And they are just as useless. To be quite honest, I have a lot of troubles with those, but they aren't really doing much therapy stuff with me. I've just had one appointment with them so far. So anyway, I'll probably complain about those in a different video, because we're talking about therapy at the moment. So the way I did actually end up accessing my hormones is I went privately. I had to fundraise and crowdfund for money to afford appointments with a private gender specialist who eventually prescribed me hormones, and they only had a couple of like consultation appointments, which were kind of like gender therapy type things, where to just kind of basically explain, you know, childhood, mental health, family situation sort of thing to someone, and they'd make notes and give me the okay for testosterone. That's what happened at the private clinic that I went to, and I did much prefer that to the excessive gatekeeping that I had with the NHS. Sorry if this is a little confusing, if like you don't live in the UK, but I hope I've explained it decently enough. Basically, yeah, so I'm very lucky that I managed to crowdfund for, I managed to get the funds together for going private in that sense, because I know a lot of people in the UK do struggle with the gatekeeping and the amount of excessive like therapy that you have to go through in order to access any sort of medical intervention with the NHS here. You know, it just isn't for a lot of people, that sort of system. You know, a lot of people like me who are just really sure that they just like don't have to go through therapy or go through any sort of counselling or go through that long process. They do find it very like, they feel like they're being gatekept from hormones, you know. So I do not think that therapy should be necessary for people wishing to access hormones, because I just found it so frustrating when I had to sit through it. You know, that's why I found a different route. I found the private route, which you know, you didn't need as much of that to access hormones. But you know, I'm still going through the NHS because I want top surgery, because I cannot afford any surgery privately. If I could, I would. So you know I am going to have to sit through probably quite a lot more of, you know, going to be forced to sit through quite a bit more gender therapy and stuff like that, which, you know, I'm just going to have to deal with. So because, you know, we are lucky to have free healthcare, so that I can get my top surgery for free. I just have to wait a very long time. But when I was like younger, before I really started going through the process of trying to access medical transition, I did talk over gender stuff with my counsellor, with my therapist, just like my day-to-day normal therapy sessions, and that was kind of helpful. Just kind of, I remember going with my therapist and navigating topics such as coming out and dealing with bullying and transphobia at high school, and because I was at high school at the time, and that was very useful. So I can understand maybe if you wanted to see a gender specific therapist for stuff like that, that also could be useful. Because I remember obviously with it just being like a general teen counsellor sort of person who I was discussing this with, she didn't know all that much about trans issues, so like it obviously wasn't the best help advice there, but you know, I might have been able to get better help advice from an actual specialist gender therapist there. But apart from that, I haven't ever really felt the need for gender therapy personally. I was just kind of forced to have it. But yeah, that's my gender therapy story. Thank you very much for listening to me rant. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I upload every Monday, but other awesome people upload throughout the week. This week we're obviously talking about this topic, but we talk about a new topic every single week. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on for this channel if you want more cool content. And like, comment, you know, all that sort of stuff, you know what to do. Thank you for watching again. I love you, bye.